In this tutorial, I'm going to explain how to use the hatch tool. And it's basically a shading or gradient for enclosed areas. It's just a tool on the draw panel, and this is its tool button right here. And let's read this pop-up. It says, the hatch fills an enclosed area or selected objects with a hatch pattern. And you can choose several methods to specify the boundaries of a hatch, and then it lists them. But let's go ahead. I'm going to show you first how to hatch a building. Let's change the layer to building, so that's our current layer. And as we start to draw, everything goes on that building layer. Now let's go ahead and hatch the building. So we select hatch, and then it says select the internal point. And you can see as I have selected hatch, my hatch creation panel has shown up here. And right now the hatch pattern selected is solid, and you can determine the hatch boundary by picking points or selecting a boundary object. Right now it's saying pick an internal point. So as I move my cursor to a place that qualifies, it shows that that hatch boundary is okay and it is solid. For a building though, we want to use hatch pattern ANSI 31. And now you can see other options have been made visible. And the one I'm really concerned with is the scale. So as you can see, as I come over here, it is still almost solid. But if I change that, my scale down here is 100. Let's make this 100 just to play with it and see what it looks like. Now, as I tick this box, it shows my hatch pattern much larger scale, and so it's much easier to see. And I believe correctly, maybe a good scale to go by, I believe I usually use half of my drawing scale. So once you have your drawing scale set, try using half your drawing scale and see if that doesn't look alright. So then you just select to pick the internal point, and you right click to end the command. Now I want to show you one other thing. Let's go in here to the Annotate tab, and let's type some text in here. Let's specify a text box, and we want it to be centered. And I'm going to say 1 story brick. Close the text editor. When you have a building on your property, you need to label what kind of dwelling it is or what kind of building it is. It could be a barn or a shed, but in this case it's a 1-story brick building. So that's what we're going to label it. And now let's go back and hatch this the way it is. So I select the hatch. Now on my last hatch defaults show up at 50 scale, ANSI 31. I hover over, select it, right click to end. Now notice that my hatch pattern leaves an empty space for where my text is located. And notice also it's a multi-line text, so it's actually a text box. And so it does not hatch all the way around the text box. Now let's try a different method. Let's select Annotate using single line text. I'm going to take J to justify it, MC for middle center. Now specify the middle point of the text and the rotation 0, hit enter. Now I'm going to start typing 1-story brick. And now let's go back to the Home tab, select Hatch. My last hatch pattern defaults are still there. I go to the spot, left click, right click to end the selection, and now notice that the hatch pattern goes all the way up to the text because each text line is a separate object. So it's hatching all around it. So you can use either method, whichever one you like, or whichever one you think looks better. Okay, so that's a building. Now let's hatch some road. I'm going to be concerned with two types of roads right now. Let's create this one. Let's offset it a distance of 40 feet onto this side. And now also note that you can only hatch enclosed areas. So I'm going to make sure that this area is closed. Drawing a line here, copy it, paste it there, and I'm going to trim this and this. Right click, because I selected my cutting edges. Now I'm going to left click on those things that I want to erase. Okay, now I have an enclosed road, so let's hatch that. This is a paved road, by the way. So we're going to hatch this paved road. And paved roads, I usually do is solid. And then the color, you can change here. And I'm going to select color 254. I don't know why. It looks gray. It's the right color. So left click to select the internal point. Right click to end the selection. And I also want you to notice that when you hatch, especially with a solid, it will place that hatch on top of your line. So you need to move it to the bottom. Select the hatch object, go to your Home tab, and up here you'll see your bring to front or send to back command. So we want to send that to the back. And then type RE to regenerate your drawing. And it didn't send it to the back. Or did it? I don't know, let's try it again just to make sure. Let's send it to the back. Okay, I believe it did. Okay, so erase that. And now you have your hatch pattern sent to the back. Okay, let's do another type of road. Let's do a gravel road. Offset that 20 feet. I don't know where you live, but in our area of the state there are lots of gravel roads. So we're going to close this off. Copy by typing CP at the command line. Select the object you want to copy. Right click to end the selection. Base point, fine. Move it to there. Left click. Right click to end the command. And then we're going to trim those lines out. So what is your cutting edges? Select your cutting edges. Right click to end that selection. Now what do you want to erase? And you select the items you want to erase. Right click to end the command. Now let's hatch that. For gravel, I usually use AR sand. And now on this one I usually use white. And be sure to change the scale down to either usually like 2 or 3. And it doesn't normally matter what your scale is. You want that to be pretty small, like 2 or 3. So we select the left click to select that, and then right click to end the command. So now you have a paved road, gravel road, and you've annotated your building. Hatched your building. So those are your hatch commands.